missing, but never mind. Item 1, apologies for absence.
Chairman, Councillors Clements, Richard Morris and John Grady.
Thank you. Declarations of interest. Any? No. Thank you. To confirm as a correct record the minutes of the meeting of the committee held on the 12th of January. Can I have a proposer, please? Thank you. And a seconder? Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Item 3, Heritage Centre. Sorry, 4 even, sorry, beg your pardon. To confirm that the Tourist Information Centre reopened to the public on Wednesday the 11th of February 2026. A period of consolidation and embedding will now ensue for the new features and arrangements. Arrangements are now progressing for the official opening on the 20th of March. The date coincides with the National Tourism Week. That's handy. Formal invitation for the official opening will extend to the stakeholders, press, community groups and peer council representation, as well as those people directly involved with the project works. Has everybody been in to see the new Heritage Centre?
Yeah.
No, it is really nice. Item 5, terms of reference tour and somebody get my teeth in, criteria for the Community Enrichment Fund aspect of the Community Grant Scheme. I'll hand over to Mark, please.
Thank you, Chairman. So members will remember in the preset budgets and estimates in January, we put an extra 3,000 in the community grants, and it was Councillor Della's motion back in November and December to do a small enrichment fund, so small grants. What we need to do is do the terms of reference for the eligibility criteria on those, and what I've put on there on the agenda is we've got the first grants meeting on the 30th of March. So the recommendation is really, could we delegate to the existing appraisal panel to come up with the terms of reference before that date, so a meeting around mid-March to be confirmed. Don't need to be overcomplicated, but it needs to be the value, such as residential status within Droitwich, recommended value, and some sort of means test, I think. And then we can make that 3,000 go quite a long way. We've got a template through CDS that's worked in other areas, so we can probably take 2 or 3 ideas from that. So if members are happy to support that to vote, Katie and I will just come back with suggested dates for a panel meeting, probably mid-March. That'll give us a couple of weeks to start advertising it for interest as well before our first panel meeting.
So can we have a proposal for this?
Seems like a great idea, and I'm very happy to propose.
Seconder, please. Thank you. All those in favour, please. Thank you very much. Item 6, Droitwich Dementia Action Alliance.
So, Chairman, on this one, there was a flyer that went out. Again, it's another initiative that was brought forward by Councillor Ella through last year. So we've done a couple of things on this. We did the dementia awareness training, and we funded that, some extra training, and also the Herbert Protocol, which was that wider publicity launch as well last summer. So it's all connected. What this is, it's through Widen Age UK and also supported through Witchaven to do it, bring all those sorts of themes together under this alliance in the locality of Droitwich. So what we're asking for there is just support for the Town Council to formally join.
Right. So can I have a proposer to support this? Thank you, Councillor. And a seconder? Councillor Hopkins, thank you. All those in favour then? Thank you very much indeed. Item 7, community hall defibrillator.
So this one was a bit of a mystery to us. What we've managed to interpret since the agenda's gone out is it was used successfully for an emergency situation on Thursday the 12th February. We noticed on Friday 13th that it was missing from the community hall, so they should go back in when they've been used by the emergency services. To date, it still hasn't been returned. So that's more positive than we first thought. We thought that somebody had stolen it. So it's been used, it's been deployed, which is its purpose, but it should be returned as status ready straight away. So Droitwich AED, which is our partner in this, are actively chasing the West Midlands ambulance to get it returned. We've had to take the unit off status ready on what they call the network, national network, so it's showing as not available, which is not good. They've been given a day to return it or to pay the 50%. This 612 is 50% of the retail cost, so that would be a replacement. So that's where we're up to with it. It's just bad process really that somebody has not returned it, but it's slightly more positive than we thought.
I think it's understandable in an emergency that something might just get missing.
Yes.
It was 2 weeks ago
Yes.
now, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So they're probably still waiting outside the hospital.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Item 8, the Spring Meadow Public Open Space footpaths maintenance and repairs. This is for information as well. Yeah.
So on that one, Chairman, I've had a quote today on this from contractors. It's £5,539.46 is the estimate. That is good value for the work. It's not just finishing off of paths and improving them, it's also putting some drainage in. So what's happening is water with all this rain is coming off Mulberry Hill Junction and it's saturating the path, which is breaking up. We've got cycles going through there. It's just not an improving situation. So we put a soak away and divert the surface runoff further down. So that's all included. And we've also added some visibility strips on the staircase of sleepers. So for those people on, so more sort of high vis, because so the visibility, but also their anti-slip, because in the wet, those sleepers are getting quite slippery, particularly with people with mobility needs. And also the sides there, you can't really put a rail in the open parkland. So all that is 553946. It would be costed through the land budgets for the next period from 1st of April, so that's fine. But the positive is Councillor Dan Birch will give us £3,000 towards it from the county. So we've gratefully accepted that.
Yes. Yes, Councillor Davis.
The seasonal pond, if the water could be diverted towards that, it would encourage more water life. That would be really good.
That's what we've done to that
Yeah.
respect,
Okay. Any other comments? No. Thank you. Item 9, the Sunday Band Concert Programme. To note the attached finalised schedule for the 2026 Lido Park Band Concert. And I should imagine Katie has worked really hard on this. Thank you very much.
No problem.
So that's all finalised, that's gone out, it's on the website. I think members had it anyway, but it was just to confirm that.
Yes. Let's hope for a nice hot summer where we can all sit and listen to the bands. Number 10, biodiversity, Gurney's Lane Planting Sensory and Pollinators Scheme. This is for information as well.
It is, thanks, Jen. So this one is, Councillor Sinton will know as well, because it was on a place board agenda the last 2 months meetings, last Tuesday and the January one. It's a joint enterprise with Place Board. What the outlook is with Unitary coming up, that the Town Council would take on an asset transfer, that flower bed, and add it to the municipal planting thereafter. So it's that large flower bed you can see on the sketch map. It is very big actually, it's about 10 foot at the long end in depth. It's by the Waitrose staff car park, the gated access off Gurney's Lane, so the side entrance, so between really Waitrose and the High Street, where the Chinese is. So that whole area. So it's to refurbish some brickwork, because it's heavy ivy ingress in there, and then put a curved pathway in, which replicates that circular bench around a big tree. It is subject to various conditions because it's scheduled ancient monument in terms of the ground there, so you're restricted on what you can actually dig, the depth. So we're having to take guidance from conservation on that, although there is permission to go ahead in principle, and English Heritage as well. We've got those, and we've got Wychavon Engineers' consent to move on with an asset transfer thereafter. So what the idea is that it will be funded through Place Board, and then the Town Council post 2028 will then take it on.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks.
So as I say, it's in its early stages yet. That isn't the final diagram because we're waiting for their engineers' reports and things like that.
I've always thought just there needed something. Yeah. Lovely.
So we'll provide more info as it's finalised, but what we sent out was some initial planting spec that came from our planting contractor, who's made some valid suggestions there. There's very provisional plans from Wychavon, and I think there's some sketches of the plant coverage from Andrew.
Neil, Councillor Franks, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't make the December meeting, but I believe there's a motion asking the Place Board to sort of start working with the council. I suppose with questions to obviously has an official sort of letter gone out to them to ask them to sort of come along and sort of present to us. And when's that going to happen? Because obviously this would be quite useful for them to sort of come along and show us what they're planning here, but also other plans that they've got in works as well.
Well, we've only had two Place Board meetings since the January and the
Yes, I
February one.
think the natural thing is for them to come to the next full council meeting in April, I think. Invite to that.
They've agreed
That
to
was
they've
involved.
agreed to that.
I'll have to talk about it, but that's it would be very useful. And they take that on board, yes. So I think the next date is April for the date.
The 27th of April is
Yeah,
next one.
that one is a good one to come to, yes.
Yeah.
I think it's great because we did pass that, I think it's April, I think.
Yeah.
And they're very willing to do it, actually, they're very keen to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Are they going to take on board ideas that the town councils have as well?
Yes, I think the idea is to perhaps quite a long agenda, actually, it'll be quite a long session with them, I think, would be an idea.
Yeah.
Because they're very keen to do that, yes.
Maybe just if we could ask them to sort of give us a bit of a introduction to the boundaries that they work to and the kind of projects they do, so we can sort of have a chance to have a think ahead, so we can sort of plan ideas for them.
Well, there are some changes, sorry for you, okay. There are some changes going on because of the funding. The funding is no longer going to be through government, it's going to be through Wychavon. So that's really for the new logo.
For 2 years.
So it's, yeah, so it's things like that that they need to talk about too, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I think we should build on that, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, Councillor Davidson, you've been very patient there.
It's very hard. Yeah, as it states that it's to encourage wildlife, why don't we refer our list to the, your list, whoever it is, list, to the Wildlife Trust for their opinion on which are the best ones to have, including the original suggestions on this, whatever it was that those were chosen from.
Yeah. We can do that because we've got a review, Katie and me go into that with the natural networks. I think it's about the 5th or 6th of March. We've got an annual review.
Because I know a lot of us, several councillors have worked with the Wildlife Trust recently. Paul's another one. They have got people who now are going out looking at neighbourhoods to improve biodiversity.
Yeah, lovely.
We'll raise that one.
Any other, yes, Councillor.
Yes, I attend the Residents Association meetings in my West Ward, and they've been offered, and they're actually planting trees off Westwood Road where the fruit trees are were planted a few years ago, but they're placing the trees in the area near that. So they've invited people from Westland to come to help them plant them. And I think that's very good, because that is a very good action group, the local residents. They're really getting in, and they're continuing to improve the environment on the estate. And we've now got the lawyers talking about a piece of land on the estate. So it looks as if they're going to have their garden in quite a good spot. So they've put the bench there in expectation that it will go through the legal chain.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It's nice to see people taking pride in where they live. And perhaps if they take pride in where they live, there will be less vandalism. Hopefully. Any other comments? Right, so on to item 11, requests for the consideration of additional dog waste bins. This comes up a lot.
I can summarise on this, Chairman. There was a paper attached for item 11. So there was a summary of the bins that we put in. So these are all, apart from one, which is in Copcut, on land that's not owned by Town Council. So we've done quite a few over the last year. There's an emerging issue, particularly in the Newland Road developments, that Wychavon put the bins in, but it takes time then for the adoption of the streets and the infrastructure. So in that elapsed time scale, the bins don't get emptied, there's no service contract. So this is why we're getting a lot of people raising that the bins are full, overflowing. Where we can, we're intervening and asking FCC, which is the contractor for Wychavon, to intervene. I had another one on Friday. But the other side of that is generating more requests for bins, which isn't always necessarily the answer. So that was really just to highlight how many bins there are in that area of developments. There's a lot on that map, and there's a couple that haven't been updated recently. So that was really to clarify the position on it. However, we do continue to get requests, and they're not all from the new developments. So there are two which I've asked us to have a look at and consider today. Just bear with me a second. Yeah, so the first one was through Tim Lewis at FCC for Wychavon, the contracts manager, and he'd been approached by Gregory Wilkins and Dan Birch, both members. So one bin in any of these three locations, College Green, Alexander Avenue or Shirley Road. So that would be a cost to the Town Council. So it's really where members thought best. College Green may be the answer on that. It's an open space rather than on the roadside. So that was one, and then the other one was this Holly Close, because there's currently no provision in the nearby area. There are some further up in the new developments which have been overflowing because they're not adopted, but this Holly Close is missing one. In addition, we've still got one to put in for Councillor Davidson, which is at Stainers Avenue 1, awaiting sign up from Wychavon on that. So that would be two others if members are mindful today. And the only other request that we're saying is we would like to use some of the SIL money for that, with 11,000 plus in SIL, which it needs to be used for this sort of thing, like bus shelters or infrastructure like this. It's part of the reserves.
Yeah.
Seems to be more dogs about lately as well. You know, everybody seems to want to go and walk a dog somewhere.
I think it's a factor of the new developments, particularly in that Newland side of town, because people are moving in, the properties getting occupied towards adoption, and a lot of them have got pets.
Yeah. So, can we have a proposer for these
These
new
two.
bins, these two new bins? Thank you, councillor. And seconder,
Yeah.
and all those in favour of this?
And would you prefer College Green of those three rather than Street Side? Because it's a wider open space. isn't it?
So,
Near the Sacred Heart,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
are we all agreed on College Green?
Yeah.
Those in favour of College Green, please.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 12, UK Town of Culture 2028. To be advised and consider the announcement made on the 14th of January by the Department for Culture, Media and Sport to assist towns wishing to bid for the title of UK Town of Culture.
So on this one, Chairman, I don't know if members heard this. It was on National Radio, Radio 4, I think lunchtime on 14th of January it first came out. So we looked at it on day one. There's an awful lot of criteria and scope, and I've sent everything out to people. But basically, the towns nationally are divided into three. We would be in the middle, right, in terms of population. We'd be in the middle one, and there's an opportunity to bid for Town Culture 2028. Process is quite slick. It only gives till the 31st of March to do an expression of interest. So the challenge we've had is it's got to be a partnership. So applications are invited from a partnership. It can't just be from the town council as such. Town council qualifies as what they call the accountable and deliverable body. So that's for the due diligence, the governance, very similar to community legacy, but at a higher level. The stakes are high because to stand out for one prize, the prize is £3 million and two runners up at 250,000. So it's £3.5 million part. However, if we put in a compelling expression of interest and it was shortlisted, you'd have until around the autumn on the timeline to develop the bid. So in order to do that, they would award 60,000. So that could be spent towards consultancy, and it would add value. So it's certainly worth doing. There's a lot of factors stacked up. There's political landscape, all sorts of other factors. But it would be better to put a strong EOI in as we can before that deadline.
Yeah.
So we took this to Place Board in January. It was hot off the press, it was that same week, and then we had a discussion at Place Board here on Tuesday last week, and I've got a meeting with Matt Nichol tomorrow. But what the Place Board have asked is for us to consider as a deliverable body to Town Council, and then as a partnership to put a bid in for the longevity and continuity of the Town Centre Prospectus. So bearing in mind the Town Centre Prospectus originates in May 2022, we've done a lot on that with Wychavon Place Board and Town Council, but it hasn't been entirely fulfilled. There's a lot still to do. So to convert what's still to do as the expression of interest in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully get back into to continue that legacy. Two key points are that document has already been consulted on by Wychavon, and secondly, Wychavon will cease to exist in April 2028. So that work stream will just finish unfunded. So that is really the request for consideration today, literally to a mandate to proceed as a partnership with a Place Board on it, and for the Town Council to undertake the deliverable body to submit an EOI by the end of March.
Yes,
I think to show how serious we are, we could name that new estate at Towell after Shakespeare and Hamming and characters from Shakespeare. So the roads would all have Shakespeare names.
That naming request I'm planning for the 23rd of March.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, to say that I'm not going to receive it, going to say that it was. We're not going to get too excited about this. We're not going to win £3 million, whatever. but we just felt it was a way of putting forward the high profile of the town. There's a lot to base it on, and I think the general feeling was we don't try, we don't succeed anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, there are hundreds of towns, obviously, but it was worth putting something forward,
Yeah.
provided it doesn't take too much work from the office, but I think you're quite happy to do it.
Yeah.
The original.
Have to work with Matt and.
Yeah.
So, I do hope you support the committee, because on behalf of the place board, they were very keen to put this forward, because there's plenty of ideas there. I think the key point with this about the fact we've got the prospectus, we've got something to base it on, which
Yeah.
can move forward.
Yeah.
If you look to what has been done, and look what still has to be done, and there's plenty of opportunity there,
Yeah.
so very much in support of it myself.
Yeah.
Going forward, but not that too excited.
Yeah.
It's lovely to win £3 billion, isn't it? But that's-
Councillor Sington has just said exactly what we British say.
Yes.
It's not the winning, it's the taking part.
But if we got through to the shortlist and a £60,000 contribution towards embellishing it, that still would be an achievement. It
Yeah.
would have value.
Yes, Councillor Franks, you have
Sorry, I
something to say?
realised I forgot the,
That's all right, I know who you are.
I think I'm 100% supportive of it, absolutely. I just worry that the Ravens going to count against us. It just feels like it's a real blight in the town. I'm afraid that, I think many of us know this, it's not going to be sorted out for an awful long time.
Yeah, I know.
So it's just a real shame that this possibly is the one thing that really holds us back in what which should be a very strong, what will be a very strong application. So yeah, no, 100% support of the.
Great. So can we have a proposer to carry on with this?
I can't, but I must be.
Oh, okay.
Councillor Franks then, and Councillor Bowden. So all those in favour of this? Yay! Thank you very much.
much. Yeah.
We're hoping to do
Take
that.
issue with one thing, Madam Chairman, that in fact we are very good at taking part, unless we're sliding 90 miles an hour on a train.
Oh, well, yes, yeah,
Then we're very good.
that's it, exactly.
We're hoping to get a draft EOI by about 17th of March, which is the next place board meeting.
Yeah.
So we've got time over the next couple of weeks to give it a first shot.
Exactly. Right, I think that is the end of my. Oh, Yeah.
Road between two thorns.
yes, actually, we've got one of these, haven't we? Yeah.
Oh, the grandchildren.
Yes, this little old lady with the scissors.
These things are worth keeping, because I found something about my great-great-grandfather from
Yeah.
the 1830s, because it was in a local paper. When he died,
Yeah.
yeah. Something he did in the 1830s.
Good evening then, and welcome to this meeting of the Resources and Sustainability Committee. First item, apologies for absence,
Yes,
please.
Chairman, Councillor Clements, Morris and Brady.
Thank you. And do we have any declaration of interest for tonight's business, please? No? Minutes then, confirm as the correct record, the minutes of the meeting held on the 12th of January. Could I have a proposal for that, please? Thank you, and a seconder? Seconder, please. Oh, thank you. Councillor Hopkins. All those in favour, please. Thank you. Item 4, request for noting, this is by the way, but a request for a community governance review. If you could take us through the
Yes, Chairman, this went to all district members to struggle with. It's just for information, but it's a boundary review consideration through Dobber Hill Parish Council to come within the catchment of Droitwich Spa Town Council. So there's a process to follow. We're just copying for information. What that would mean effectively is an increase in the perceptual value in due course. For example, the Inkley Estate planning applications are scheduled for the 5th. I think Councillor Dell is speaking on behalf of District, Councillor Duffy is speaking on behalf of Town Council, so we're further support. That's for just over 100 new properties, so that value will then come to the Town Council. But the feeling was that those areas were more accustomed to feeling within the town than the wider Dodder Hill catchment. So the letter's fairly self-explanatory.
Well, thank you for that. In fact, I think it goes quite a long way towards dealing with the criticism we get quite often that we've got people who live outside of the town but come in and use the facility, but we don't get the benefit of their council tax to facilitate things. So hopefully that will correct that situation a little bit. Yeah, for us. Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to, thanks for letting us speak. Obviously, I'm not part of this committee, but I think there's still some additional information that needs to be known about this. So, for example, there is going to be an election on the Inkley ward for Dodder Hill Parish Council, which is a bit of a frustration, I think, for many people, sort of thing. That's the ongoing situation at Dodder Hill. What do we know? Otherwise, I'm going to send an email myself about this as district councillor. What that would mean in terms of when it comes on to Droitwich, would it just amalgamate as part of Droitwich East Ward as it's sort of part of the district council, or will there be a separate Inkley ward for the town council? And is that for us as the town council to decide if that would become a separate ward, or would that be part of the boundary commission?
It'd be part of the boundary commission, but I don't know whether it would be added on or a new ward.
Right. So if I include you in an email to John Morgan, maybe, or
Yeah,
and we can
Jonathan Morgan,
and then
Electoral Services.
maybe you can provide some advice on whether it needs to be added on or it becomes included.
Yeah, he'd clarify. I met with him and Councillor Della and Vic end of January, it was, and this was one of the points.
Sorry, could I speak as well? Sorry, going back to what you just said. Is this election imminent? I mean,
It's been called now, and it's got to be done by the 28th of April at the very least.
Yeah.
The date at the moment hasn't been set.
I think in fairness on that, Councillor Franks, it wasn't called before when we had the meeting. So
That's understandable. It's just
it's emerged since.
I mean, the last there was an election there recently. It wasn't that long ago. I think it was 11 votes versus 6, and it cost £3,000.
Yeah.
So it was just ridiculous. But it's going to happen again, regardless, or unless it's uncontested.
it's for one councillor for that,
Yes.
Yeah.
for the roads, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just thought I'd mention that whether we're going to find out whether I don't know if we decide if it's to be an extra
I think we have to
town
wait and see.
councillor or we just include it for
See what
which has 4. So
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay then. Item 5, sustainability. Options to convert the second floor of St Richard's House into usable office space and business units. And by the way, this is something which has been dear to my heart for quite a long time, to make use of that space we've got.
Yeah, so just to summarise from the agenda channel, this dates from 2019-20, the mandate originally deferred with COVID and other things. Then we had a community lab sit downstairs, couldn't really revisit it whilst that project was ongoing because of the disruption. Also, what's triggered this really is an approach from Wychavon, because with the forthcoming LGR and the reform, I think that they want to reaffirm the pledge for funding towards it as a partnership within the time frame before April 2028. So we've got a meeting with the senior officers, with Councillor Della, Councillor Morris and myself next week to have a look on site with that and understand the scoping and timescales. So as I said, all those aspects will then enable us to be more specific. What I did add, there's a couple of things on there for economies of scale. When we did the surveying drawings for downstairs, we did the whole building. So back in 2019-20, we didn't have any architect's drawings or surveyors information we have now. So that's all done and paid for. And also within the fire regulations, there was a lot came out of the Heritage Centre refit because they don't look at only the area that's been refurbished, they look at the future proofing of the whole building. So we did a full fire risk assessment and their recommendations from building regs, including the second floor, so that's all done as well. So that's going to be a saving when feasibly we can do it. We would hope, I think, with Unitary coming thick and fast, possibly later this year, we could look to start that project.
I think that would be great. I mean, there's a couple of options that might develop, one of which is simply to have some office space to let, which improves our income. And again, we do get income from quite a lot of our properties, which helps to balance the books. The other option, of course, is with the Unitary. If we find that we are taking on more areas of responsibility, it would be nice to have the office space to put the officers concerned in locally in the middle of the town. I think would be good. And I'd just like to, you heard a reference there about the surveyor's drawings, and I would just like to thank our town clerk for having the foresight when we were having some of that done anyway, to make sure we've got the whole thing. So we've got all of the groundwork, if you like, ready to go with this project. But I think it's a win-win whichever way it develops.
Perhaps let me have a word. Car parking. At the moment, we do allow one tenant, don't we, to park?
Tenants, yeah.
Tenants. And then the CVS. We might take on more staff. So that's just something to think about if we have more tenants, what to do with that.
Yes, certainly. And I something to consider. Okay, I'll move on.
Oh, just in terms of obviously you've got the heading sustainability, so I was just wanting to ask about the terms of reference, because obviously I missed a meeting, so I haven't had a chance to go back over it, of course. Have they been finalised in terms of reference?
Yeah, we did it through I think it was November's committee. I need to check that.
I was just wondering what progress was. I thought when we started seeing the heading, like I think I asked in one of the last meetings in January, that we might see some sort of what progress is against those terms of reference. I just wondering if
we haven't progressed that any further since January.
Okay. All right, we covered that one. We'll move on then to item 6, which is the solar PV options for St Richard's House, and to update what you will do.
Yeah. So Councillor Hopkins approached on this last week. I did summarise the position, go back to or the original feasibility done and before that for the pre-application advice, and that currently is the position. It was changed in January, and we did add for fire regulations to lithium batteries based on the building regs feedback for downstairs.
So we are unfortunately still waiting on the planning, and we can't move forward without that, unfortunately.
I did also ask Councillor Della to chase up with the portfolio holder for planning because it is taking a long time.
A bit silly.
Yeah.
So just to confirm, I've also chased them up as well because it's time to get this sorted. The excuse I was given was long-term illness in the team, but I was told I would hopefully have an update today, but I have not received anything.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Obviously, the more times we try, the better. So I think that really covers that one. Councillor Hopkins?
Yes, I have one concern. One of the rules which would force us to include it in the planning is the fact that the appearance of the building will be changed by the addition of 28 or however many things. That, I think, will also affect certain residents who are very keen on the old style. And I think we should have a fallback option, because to the back of the building, because that is the area, because it's the same direction facing as at my house. Well, I've had an absolutely stupendous year. It's since I did it, that most of the majority of the income coming will come from the back of the building. And that would mean that it would be very difficult for the conservation officer to say that you've changed the back face. I don't think half the people in this town would know what the back looks like anyway. And so I think it would be good if we had a paper by the experts to show what that would be, because we could do that. We could have steel cabinets for the Give Energy or whichever supply for the battery and the other mechanics of the system within a metal, which is done by other people, even though I've been assured by some other experts that if you install it correctly and you maintain it, then the risk is 0. Well, you can't actually thing, which came up in another thing, and I had reason to do that because the people who installed my solar would not support it afterwards. They were the people who do the job and then run away, and I found a company in Stratford-on-Avon that is highly rated. In fact, it's got the best rating of anybody around here. They came within days. They checked that it had been installed correctly, and they corrected what I wanted to be done, all in a couple of hours, and they were absolutely outstanding. So I think if we go to tender, I won't get anything out of this, but they were really good.
Well, again, they can be invited at the appropriate time.
Yeah.
So that's fine, but again, we're just in a situation, we're a little bit in limbo at the moment until which Avon respond.
Just on Councillor Hopkins' point, on the schematic that we did differentiate between the different pitches of the roof.
Yes.
So that they've had all that information. That was done in July.
So we had that as a feedback.
That's gone back. Well, two options: all of the roof, or just the back pitch.
Fine.
So we've already done that. Difficulty we've got with cabinets is the town council doesn't own the land at the back. Literally the back wall is the boundary. It's owned by the hospital.
Yeah.
So a standalone cabinet would be difficult for us. That's why we're restricted as to where in the building is safe to put storage batteries.
But you could.
I think we're a little bit early yet. That will be something that will come up in due course.
Yeah.
But I do think that is a realistic option, which would fend off a lot of the complaints, if not all of them.
Yeah.
Again, we'll have to just see. I'm afraid we'll have to just let this run its course and see how it turns out. Councillor Frank?
I was just wondering who our energy supplier was for the
For electricity, Eon.
Eon. And gas as well? Or?
Yeah. Suppose.
Could we start looking at alternative suppliers? So, for example, I've moved, I'm not going to say their names because I'm not trying to pitch them, but I've moved to a new energy supplier, and where the tariff I'm moving on to, I can get a higher rate at discharging at certain peak times of the day.
Yeah.
And obviously, I know there's more obvious financial sort of plan advantage doing it here, but even on the community hall, that if you can get the right tariff by exporting, you could be making money for the town council. So it's worth investigating the tariffs that are available to make the maximum financial advantage of the solar panel array.
I think we already do.
We do look at alternative providers. We don't look at exporting because we haven't obviously got the solar.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It needs to be a new line of investigation because I deal with solar quotations all the time, and they will look at the building as it is and the basics of exporting. What they won't look at is the sort of alternative tariffs and how you can maximise the benefit of it. And I'm already looking at a very substantial difference to my annual, my monthly bills over the course of the year with this new tariff based on what I've got on my house.
Thank you for that comment. Obviously, again, that's something which will come up at the appropriate point.
Well, I think we can.
We can't go for looking at tariffs until we know what installation we're going to have and so on, and how much we can export.
Well, no, that's not quite true, because it can help you decide on what kind of installation would be beneficial.
Well, we don't. Well, once we know what we can have, then obviously.
Well, you're not listening to what I'm saying, sorry, Chair, but I'm trying my best to sort of give you an idea of how you could investigate. And sorry, just feels like you're dismissing it straight away.
No. I think we should investigate, but we need the facts to be able to investigate to know what we can and can't do. And once we get the planning in, then you can move into that.
What I'm saying, but okay.
Okay. Any other comments on that one? Okay, then item 7, local government reorganisation in Worcestershire. To reaffirm the attached communication from Councillor Morris on the 6th of February, and to encourage elected members to complete the individual link within the letter. So I hope everybody will do that.
So, Chairman, I've got this one. This is for Unitary 1 or Unitary North and South,
Yes.
the two high level bids, really. The reason we put it on resources tonight is the consultation close date is the 26th of March, so that's a month before the next full council. So Councillor Morris isn't on this committee, but he's asked just to remind members if they would consider putting their individual responses in on the online link. It all went out 6th of February from the office. The other thing he did ask is to write directly to the government minister to express disappointment that town parish councils have not been included in the official centralised consultation, which is why which are going to take the lead on consulting at the moment on Unitary North and South. We can't really do that because that would have to be a town council resolution, and we haven't got a time frame to do that. So the best, Richard was accepting of that, but he's just asked that can point that out and encourage members to put their own responses.
As individuals.
Yeah.
Thank you. Everybody clear on that one? Thank you then. We'll move on to item 8 then, accounts for payments as per the list. Could I have a proposal, please?
Just a couple of supplementaries, Chairman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There are 4. There's Far Post Design, which is stage 4B, which is the last big payment for the museum, 34,140.24. It's just a small balance to pay on completion, which will be towards the end of March. Merrill photographs £14, total computers 432,480. That's 4 new computers as resolved. And then the site contractors, various works from last year, Cockwood Bridge, Westwood Lodge allotments, Cockwood 14,756.
Thank you. So in that case, can I have a proposal for the payments with the additional items we've just heard? Thank you. And a seconder, please. All those in favour? Thank you, carried. Thank you very much, then, and I'll close the meeting. Thank you.